Mid-Missouri County could elect a dead man as its coroner. Good evening, I'm Brittany Pieper.
And I'm Jim Rick. Thanks for joining us. Sheraton County's incumbent coroner, Larry Brashears, passed away, but his name still appears on the ballot. KOMU 8's Lee Yang was in Sheraton County today and joins us here in the studio.
Many residents told me Brashears was loved greatly in Sheraton County, but they also said they initially didn't know how his death would affect the race. His name on plywood signs, along highways and in front of homes, a name of a man Democrats in Sheraton County are still campaigning for, but who died almost 2 weeks ago.
He's had cancer for a number of months, and people were really concerned about it. He kept having strokes, and he just wasn't able to overcome it.
Larry Brashears served 4 terms as Sheraton County coroner and was seeking re-election.
He was one of the greatest guys in the whole world.
His opponent, Republican Dr. Evan Emmerich, posted on Facebook, Mr. Brashears served admirably as a businessman and elected official. His service will be looked upon by others as an example of exceptional community leader. Emmerich also canceled all scheduled advertising for the week and said the focus at this time should be on his family and the celebration of his life. Brunswick resident J.R. Richard said many people didn't know how the situation would be handled.
There was a lot of us around here that didn't know that you could do that at all.
According to Missouri statute, if a candidate dies after filing deadline and before election, his name will remain on the ballot. If he wins, his committee will interview and choose a Democratic candidate and make a recommendation to the governor. The governor will then appoint that nominee or appoint another qualified individual.
No matter what the situation was on a coroner call, Larry was always the same. He was always compassionate. He was always caring and understanding with the rest of the family, and he was just that kind of a person.
A similar situation happened in 2000. Missouri elected Governor Mel Carnahan to the U.S. Senate after he died in a plane crash. His wife took his position. From the studio, Lee Yang, KOMU 8 News.
Boone County voters may face a change in their polling place next Tuesday. County Clerk Wendy Noren says several of the county's 82 polling locations for 2016 have changed. We heard from a voter who says her polling place is changing for the first time in 15 years.
I'm a little worried that people are going to show up to the wrong poll on voting day because they didn't bother to look, and they're going to wait in the line until they realize they're on the wrong roll sheet and maybe be frustrated, and after they've waited in one line, not vote.
Caitlin's polling place changed from a church within walking distance to a Stevens College building twice as far away. For more information on why polling places changed and how you can find yours, visit our website at komu.com.
Republican gubernatorial nominee Eric Greitens is making a final push to get voters to those new polling locations in mid-Missouri. KOMU 8's Adam Pressler was at his final visit to Columbia before Tuesday, and he joins us now in the studio. Adam.
With only a few days left before the November 8th election, Eric Greitens is making one final round of campaign stops. Today, he visited Columbia to urge voters to put him and the Republican Party back in the governor's mansion.
We are excited to be right here in mid-Missouri because we know that every single vote counts in this election. And we've been here many times over the course of the election letting people know about the choice that they face.
For one veteran who served alongside Greitens in Iraq, it's about him not being a typical politician.
Eric's an outsider, and so it tells you how it is. It's not going to have anything to do with politics, and he'll be the right man to be the next governor.
Starr says Greitens' service is a big part of his work ethic.
He'll help support vets. His actions speak louder than words, we say in the military, and he has proven that. He is no nonsense. He'll tell exactly what he wants done, and he'll try and best to get it done.
Thursday's rally was also about working with local Republicans.
We're really excited to work with strong conservatives to bring results to the people of Missouri. And I'm honored to have folks like Nate Walker, who kicked us off today, out here with us today. Really pleased to have Chuck and Caleb here. We've got a great team, and I'm really excited about the change that we can all bring to the state of Missouri.
Democratic nominee for Governor Chris Koster was also on the campaign trail today. He was in Kansas City at a Get Out for the Vote event. Reporting from the studio, Adam Pressler, KOMU 8 News.
Missourians next week could put an end to mega campaign spending. Missouri has no contribution cap on state offices, unlike most other states. Amendment 2 would limit individual donations to $2,600. Proponents say limits are necessary to conduct a fair election. Opponents argue the amendment does not address contributions at the local level.
We're the only state in the union that is that open about campaign spending. We can talk about whether that's a good idea or a bad idea, but it does make us unusual.
KOMU 8 compiled a list of all Democratic and Republican candidates for state office and their view on limiting contributions. You can visit our website at KOMU.com to find that information.
The day started out a little foggy, almost misty out there this morning, but we still got a little bit of sunshine by the end of the day. Let's send it over to Kenton to see what to expect this weekend.
Brittany, thank you very much, and good evening, everyone. Let's look at our drought monitor to start things off. I like to show this every Thursday. It's when it's renewed, and you can see the most severe droughts here in the United States are towards parts of the southeast and certainly southwest as well for much of California, where they've been dealing with the drought for years now at this point. But back home here in mid-Missouri, we have just a D0, slightly dry conditions, abnormally dry conditions here, mainly just for eastern Audrain County and northern Montgomery counties as well. Otherwise, temperatures right now are cooling down. We're mainly into the 50s, 55 in Mexico and Paris, 57 in Columbia, 56 in Boonville and Marshall, 55 in Salisbury. Looking at our winds are just from the north here, about really calm from 0 to 5 miles an hour, and those northerly winds will keep us very comfortable in our coming days. We're looking at high temperatures just in the middle and upper 60s all weekend long here on Saturday and on Sunday both, with just some passing clouds. We're going to be very comfortable in the next 8 days. I'll track everything you can expect, including slight chances for rain later in the show.
Police have identified 3 suspects involved in yesterday's bank robbery and multi-county chase ending in Montgomery City. 23-year-old Cecil Golden and 22-year-old David Franklin were arrested and charged earlier this afternoon. Authorities said a third suspect, 23-year-old Wade Sargent, died inside a house in Montgomery City yesterday. The suspects crashed into this home on Meadowcrest Street, damaging the outside brick and uprooting a bush in the front lawn. A man was living in that home. He was unharmed. One next-door neighbor told KOMU 8 News she went outside after she heard helicopters and then watched as law enforcement chased the suspects through her backyard.
As soon as he got on the ground, I mean, they were out with, the guns drawn and everything. And then we were kind of focused on that. And but then the other one had run around the house on the other side and had headed across the back of our yard. And I believe they got him way out by the back of the house by the tree.
The 2 suspects are being held in the Montgomery County Jail without bond.
After the break, a river full of controversy, and of course that river flows right through mid-Missouri.
Plus, the price of a crucial drug for diabetes treatment spikes nationwide. Hear how local families are adjusting.
For months, Native Americans and other protesters have flocked to North Dakota to protest the construction of the Dakota Access Pipeline. The Standing Rock Sioux tribe claims the pipeline will poison its water supply and decimate sacred lands. A spokesperson for the pipeline says her company has gotten every necessary permit to begin construction, and the protests are unlawful. The pipeline has also spurred protests with environmentalists nationwide, including right here in mid-Missouri. The pipeline would carry an average of 470,000 barrels of crude oil every day from North Dakota to Illinois.
Now, the pipeline itself will not cross Missouri's border, but it will cut under the Missouri River upstream of the state. KOMU 8's Landon Burke weighs the benefits and potential consequences of the Dakota Access Pipeline.
It's a movement, starting softly, but growing all the time. Mid-Missourians join activists across the states protesting the Dakota Access Pipeline. Now, this is not the first pipeline to make its way toward the Missouri River. On Christmas Eve 1988, an oil line leaked more than 860,000 gallons of crude oil into the Gasconade River. One spilled barrel of crude oil has the ability to pollute up to 21 million gallons of drinking water. Last year alone, pipelines in the United States leaked more than 100,000 barrels of hazardous liquids. The DAPL sponsor says the pipeline will have cutting-edge modern safety innovations, including X-ray leak inspection and 24-hour electronic surveillance. But as the nation learned earlier this week with the fatal gas line explosion in Alabama, accidents do happen. Local environmentalist Scott Masker says the state of Missouri shouldn't gamble with its drinking water.
I mean, if there's a major spill, if there's 70,000 gallons of this crude oil leaked into that reservoir up there, we will see that effect. When your sink tap comes on and you hand that glass of water to your 5-year-old, there will be chemicals in there that would not have been in there otherwise.
Given the risks associated with oil pipelines, the DAPL's sponsor company has offered incentives to its host states. Now, the company says every state the pipeline passes through will receive a cut of the $55 million in annual property tax revenue. Missouri, however, will receive none of that money because the pipeline itself never crosses into the state. Supporters of the pipeline say the project will create thousands of jobs, estimated to be between 8,000 and 12,000 of them. Masker says while that's true, there are other ways to achieve the same result.
Yes, jobs are created, but jobs are also created in the renewable energy industry. You know, we know there's a clock on this fossil fuel thing.
For now, construction on the pipeline continues, along with the protests, and at this point, neither side shows any sign of giving up. Landon Burke, KOMU 8 News, Columbia.
Last month, the city of St. Louis passed a formal resolution to stand in solidarity with the people of the Standing Rock Sioux tribe. To see a copy of that resolution for yourself, you can visit our website, KOMU.com.
Here's what's happening right now. Hundreds of clergy members have joined in the pipeline protest tonight. Earlier, protesters burned a copy of a centuries-old religious document justifying the taking of land from indigenous Americans. So far tonight, officers have not intervened.
Later in the newscast, how local families are adjusting to a steep increase in diabetes treatment. And a Columbia Film Festival is bringing more than movies to town this weekend.
Welcome back to KOMU 8 News at 10 o'clock. Thanks for joining us here on a Thursday. A lot of fog out there this morning as we take a look at our time lapse over Rocheport and the Missouri River. The cloud cover then hung on just until we got into the middle afternoon. A lot of sunshine here to end our day and a beautiful sunset as well. We'll stop it right there at 6:45 p.m. And looking at our rain totals here for the past 48 hours, about 1.5 inches all in and around Columbia. Some areas seeing up to 2 inches of rainfall, maybe even a bit more than that in a few spots where we just see some heavier pockets move through. But otherwise, half an inch there in Jefferson City and Vandalia as well, about 1/4 of an inch for Moberly and Sedalia, half an inch for Lake of the Ozarks, and 3/4 of an inch for Versailles. And looking at the entire mid-Missouri region for our past 48 hours, you can see most of it here just right along I-70, right in Boone County, getting into Callaway County as well. And in this blue, anywhere between 1/2 inch to 1.5 inches of rainfall fell. And we did need the rain, and we're not going to see much more rain in the next 8 days. We do have a few chances, though. We'll look at that here in another moment. 58, though, in St. Louis, 61 in Kansas City. You can see it's cooler up to our north and warmer down to our south, and we are going to keep with the cooler temperatures rolling in. We're going to be very comfortable for the rest of our weekend. Temperatures right now are in the middle 50s all across mid-Missouri. We should be in the upper 40s by sunrise tomorrow morning. Otherwise, 5-mile-an-hour winds, everything here from the north. They're going to be very calm. They're going to be calm tomorrow as well, and a lot of that is because we have this high pressure moving in, and that will give us the calmer winds and also still cool temperatures continuing to move down as well. And I say cool temperatures because they're going to be cooler than we have been, the record-breaking temperatures we broke the past couple days, but they're still going to be about 5 to 10 degrees above average for this time of year. But really, we're not going to be affected by that cold front to our north and certainly not the one to our south. That's what moved through our area yesterday. Looking at hour by hour then with our weathercast, some patchy fog is going to be possible, especially along and south of I-70 for our morning tomorrow. Tim will be in tracking that all morning long here with weather on the 8s. Otherwise, a lot of sunshine for our afternoon, and it's going to be pretty much the same thing on Saturday as well, just a few light clouds passing through. But check out the entire United States. We are not the only ones looking at sunshine. Most of us are actually, unless you're in the northwest, in parts of the lower Rocky Mountains here in the United States, or even over to the northwest where we see just another disturbance moving up. But otherwise, we are clear here, and that's including South Carolina, just in time for the Mizzou game there on Saturday. Otherwise, overnight tonight, we're looking at 47 degrees for that low temperature. Clear skies again, and north winds 3 to 6 miles an hour. Calm winds still tomorrow. High temperatures back in the middle and upper 60s. A lot of sunshine there too, and of course in the next 8 days, not a lot of fluctuation. Middle and upper 60s here for those temperatures. Don't forget on Sunday, turn those clocks back an hour on at 2 a.m. in the morning. And then our two slight chances for rainfall are going to be on Monday evening and Wednesday evening as well. Looks like a dry one, at least at this point for Election Day, though. Temperatures really feeling like fall, though, in the next 8 days, especially considering the hot temperatures we just went through.
It's really the first 8-day fall forecast you've had so far.
It really is. It really is. Hope we can get out there and enjoy it before winter rushes in.
All right, Kenton, thanks.
Yep.
We have no choice because if Ethan doesn't have insulin, then he doesn't live.
A Columbia family pays the price to keep their son alive, coming up.
But first, your lottery numbers. Good luck.
The life-saving drug insulin is more expensive than ever, with new data showing a 400% price increase in roughly a decade. KOMU 8's Madeline Odell spoke to one mid-Missouri family that has no choice but to pay the price.
I spoke to Deanna Phillips, a Columbia mother who wasn't surprised to see how high the price of insulin has risen. Her 19-year-old son Ethan was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes when he was 4 years old. Phillips says she noticed the insulin was expensive, but never really knew how much the price was increasing because Ethan needed it either way. Right now, Phillips pays more than $300 for each vial of Ethan's insulin, which lasts a little more than a week, and that price might be getting harder to pay.
Every year the deductible goes up, and for next year our family deductible is $4,000 plus another $2,000 for prescriptions. So potentially we could have a $6,000.
Three major companies make insulin in the U.S. Data from Truven Health Analytics shows since 2004, the manufacturer list price for insulin has gone up by triple digits percentages. Reporting in the studio, Madeline Odell, KOMU 8 News.
Tonight, a mayor's task force heard ideas on how to turn Columbia into a destination medical community. That concept, according to the task force, would attract people, investment opportunities, and jobs to the community. City officials say Columbia will also study current models of medical tourism to make the plan work.
We want to have more of a community-based focus, but I think we can learn from them because they're putting together statewide consortia of different providers and obviously doing a very good job of keeping patients in their states.
City officials say at this point it's important for providers in Columbia to start promoting different services.
The Citizen Jane Film Festival is bringing more than movies to Columbia this year. It's also bringing female entrepreneurs who say they're determined to change the number of women in film. According to the Citizen Jane website, only 2% of the top 700 films the past 7 years were made by women. We heard from a woman who created a website that shows female film credentials.
So now they can no longer give up the excuse that there aren't any qualified women because there are over 1,000 on the site.
The festival begins tomorrow and runs through Sunday.
Coming up in sports, she broke records last season and the SEC coaches think she could do it again.
From the Ford Sports Desk, KOMU 8 Sports.
Hi everyone, the Missouri football team is just 2 days away from a difficult test at South Carolina Saturday. The Gamecocks are coming off their biggest win of the year, a surprising victory over the Tennessee Volunteers. There have been a lot of Missouri Tiger players seeing the field for the first time this year. In total, Mizzou has 24 first-year starters on its roster, second most in the country. The Tigers have started 4 true freshmen. Coach Odom says it's up to these underclassmen to step forward for Missouri the rest of the way.
We needed as many guys as we could get, whether you're a freshman or sophomore or whatever your classification is. I needed those guys, and we're still working on it. It's going to be a daily process on getting those guys to lead and lead the right way. I can stand here all I want and say, hey, we need to lead, go lead, go lead. I've got to show them how to lead. Those young guys, they need to lead by example. They need to lead by actions. It's something I look forward to doing with those younger guys in that training class.
Well, speaking of stepping up, the Tigers have a couple of key defensive players to replace. Terry Beckner Jr., Michael Shearer out injured. Those two, along with freshman tight end Brendan Scales, all had surgeries today for various injuries. Shearer, of course, with knee injury. Beckner, of course, with knee injury as well. And Scales had surgery to repair a fractured foot. Missouri women's basketball player Sophie Cunningham certainly dominated play in her freshman season with an SEC record 6 Freshman of the Week honors. The conference coaches know all about her now, and they've named her to the All-SEC preseason first team. Cunningham started all 32 games as a freshman and averaged 14 points. In this Tuesday's exhibition game win over Central Missouri, she scored 21 and had 6 rebounds. The coaches picked Missouri to finish 7th this season in the SEC standings. Mizzou will play its second and final exhibition game next Monday night.